Welcome to episode 172, my dear friends of the space in between. I am your host, the founder of the nOMad Collective, Phoebe Leona. And today I'm calling this episode, Hey, Disempowered Healers, we need you. We need you to stand in your power. So before I go and I get on my soapbox and talk about that in a moment, I would love to give you some, what's happening in Nomad land right here, right now. So as I record this, we are feverishly preparing for our global retreat and inward journey. This is a space to release, to transform, and be free. We are starting this Thursday, May 9th through the 11th. So if you're hearing this, as we release it this week, the week of May 6th, you will get an invitation. You will get to join us for free. I will also say if for some reason you're listening to it after, you still have the link here in the show notes, and you will be able to have free access to the portal and get access to the recordings of this really important, what I think is a very important global retreat. So, what this global retreat is an inward journey for you, an inward journey for you to go to look at that first day is to look at those old patterns and stories that you want to release, the old stories of worry and the old stories of grief. Those were the two that came through with our nOMad guides. They are some amazing teachers in the healing and wellness world. Marie and Martin will be leading a session on releasing worry. And Kina, who just joined us in the nOMad Guides program, she's leading one on grief, like grief of self, learning how to love yourself and grieve the old, right? To step into the new. So that we're looking at those old stories that really held us back. And then that day two is really about, okay, now that we have, let's transform things. Let's get our bodies moving using yoga. Amy Getzmeyer from Tribe Yoga, she's going to get our bodies moving. We're going to look at how do we tap into more of our intuition, our inner wisdom, how to listen to our voice more deeply with Kim Romaine. And then we're going to tap into the upper realms, the unseen worlds, the connecting to light language, right? To support your transformation. And that's with Kelly Walsh. And then I will be leading an integration session, a sacred pause to integrate all of that transformation that you powerfully went through just in a short amount of time. I will help integrate that for you at the end of the day. And then the last day is really about being free, being able to be free in your breath with Lisa McNett, and to be free in your body and connect with spirit again and celebrate and trust that spirit is guiding you through this whole journey. Right. So that will be our conclusion as we close the ceremony with me with the Movement 109 ceremony inside of our container. So that's a little bit of what's ahead. It's going to be within 3 days. A lot of transformation is going to occur, a lot of opportunities to connect with other teachers and healers who I believe are the new leaders of the world. So that's what I'm going to shift into our conversation in a moment. And what I'll just say in terms of other things that are happening in Nomadland, please go visit our website. We have some retreats happening that are with our Nomad guides here. We have a retreat in Bali coming up, another one happening with Kelly in New York coming up. The one in Bali is with Lisa McNett. We have another retreat with Nancy Rafa in India. And we have so many others that will be up there very soon. So if you're listening to this in June or July, you go ahead and check out. We probably have more retreats happening that I'm not announcing at this point in time and space. And we also have connections with properties, retreat properties that we partner with. You can see who we partner with there too. We will be adding more and more throughout the year and beyond. And yes, you get to know our guides, you get to know our properties, you get to know all about the upcoming retreats. There's so much happening there. And if you are saying, hey, I have a bunch of friends who I want to celebrate my 50th birthday, or I want to, celebrate my wedding. I want to have a bachelorette party, and I want to do it in a different way. I want to have it really be this transformational experience where we get to, have these eh, deeper connections in sisterhood, and you want to create it basically a retreat, an opportunity that's might be the old way of going out and drinking and having fun with your girlfriends, but you actually want to make it be a very meaningful experience. I would say reach out to me and we can curate that really special time just for you and your friends and your family. Because we have amazing retreat leaders, and this is our jam. We curate transformational experiences. So if you're interested in that, let me know and we can make that happen for you. Okay, so that's what's happening in Nomad Land right now as I record this. But now I want to shift into our talk today. So the past the past month in April, we did some replays of our Embodied Leadership Summit that we hosted last year. So this was, we had I'm not sorry, retreat leaders, embodied leaders. So leaders in lots of different realms. So we had Alexander John Shaya, who is a very well-renowned spiritual leader, mostly in the line of Christianity. We had Elisa and Gina, who are amazing somatic um, leaders who are also talking about the sister wound. We had talking about ancestral healing, right? So we had also, who else did we release last year? Ryan, who um, he's such a light, beautiful spirit, but he talked about, the work of, who did he talk? Oh, the Four Agreements. And he talked a lot about his story about transformation and how he became more a leader in mental health, right? So we had all these leaders from different worlds, and we were coming together and having these conversations about, if we all came together from these different worlds and saw that being in a leadership, right, is all about creating a centering space, a safe space for people to have these tools to feel centered in their body, feel centered with their environments, right? How do we create environments full of empathy and full of more of connection and have these conversations where we really see each other eye to eye? How do we create open, safe, these inclusive spaces, right? So these were the conversations we had last month on nOMad, the podcast here. But these were conversations we really had a year ago. And so what we're doing right now with this global retreat is we're having more experience. We had conversations and we're having more transformational experiences with healers, specifically healers and teachers and guides in the wellness spiritual realm. And I was saying, we really need this right now for our times. Our times, the time that we're in just continues to get louder and more chaotic. It feels like it's really amped up um, in the last 6 months again, um, in lots of different worlds, right? But it all comes down to whichever part of the news that you follow, it all comes down to feeling disembodied, right? People feel disembodied. They don't feel safe. They don't feel safe sending their kids to school. They don't feel safe traveling the world because there's so much division in parts of the world. There's war happening, right? And there's separation. There are people not being able to see each other eye to eye. They there are conversations about, people's actual rights, right, to their bodies. So they don't even feel safe in their bodies because they feel that their rights living in this body will be taken away, right? But all of the conversations that we see in the news really come down to that, of not feeling embodied. And so when we don't feel embodied, we go to a place of fighting out in fear, right? We fight out in fear. We put our fists in the air. We say hurtful things to other people. We take away other people's rights because we don't feel embodied. So we take other people's rights away to make us feel more powerful, right? But what if we felt more embodied? What if we understood we have resources within ourselves that can heal ourselves? What if we truly saw each other as the same? Like really, truly, not just go, okay, yes, I know we're all the same, we're all connected, right? but really felt that, really believed it on a deeper level. We can really move through life feeling embodied and move from a place of empathy. And so this is why my conversation today is about my disempowered. It's a shout out to my disempowered leaders because I truly believe that you are the leader that we need right now. You are the one who's going to help us feel more embodied and feel that connection again with ourselves, with others, with source. And if we don't have you stand in your power, then our whole world is fucked, to be honest. If we don't have you stand in your power and guide us and share with us your wisdom, your medicine, right? All your experiences that you've gone through because you as a healer were wounded at some point and are still continuously healing yourself. And you have these gifts that you've used on yourself and you help with others. And we need you now more than ever. We need you to amplify your gifts and we need you to help wake people up to their own gifts. Because when we do, then we will all realize how very precious this life is. And we will stop with the fighting. We will put the guns down. We'll put the let me take other people's rights away, right? Rights away. We will take all of that down and we will start to really truly see each other for who we are. That we're all just wounded, disembodied souls that are trying to find their way back in some way in this 3D world, right? So this came from, yes, a lot of things that are happening in the world that you see on the news that feel rather hopeless at times. But then I also sit and I talk every single day with, these new leaders of the world, these healers, these very wise souls that have connections to the unseen world, that have messages for us on how to cure, right, and heal. But they don't feel empowered. I sit every single day and they're like, yeah, I have all these gifts, but I don't know how to sell myself. Ooh, when I hear over and over again, yeah, I know I have something to give, but I don't know how to sell myself. Right there is a conversation that I think we need to talk about is we are being told that we're supposed to sell ourselves and that we have to do all of these things, these logistical things like social media marketing, and we have to have a mailing list, and we have to do this, and we have to show up that way, and we have to do, we have to put ourselves essentially in some sort of box, right, to conform in some way so that we can be seen and heard and felt. But however, your whole gift of being a healer, of being something that is quite outside of the box, is just being you, right? You have to be you. For you to be actually fully seen and heard and felt, you actually have to be you completely. And so putting yourself in those boxes of like all the logistical things can feel very constricting for you. It also can feel quite overwhelming too, right? Because you're like, okay, now I have to do all of the things, and it distracts you from your actual gift. Right. So either way, if you see yourself like feeling conformed or you're feeling overwhelmed, it's distracting you, it's disempowering you, it's disembodying you, and it's pulling you from what you need to be, your authentic self. You need to be your authentic self in order for the people to be magnetized to you, right? You don't actually have to sell yourself. You don't have to worry and walk on eggshells about saying the right thing to the right person, right? And making sure you don't say the wrong thing to the right person, right? No, you just be authentic. You stand in your power. You let yourself be seen and heard and felt and loved. And the people that need you the most, they'll find you. They'll wake up and go, "Ooh, what did she just say? Oh, my ears perked up. I think that's some wisdom that I need." Right? They're going to lean in. Whether you get them through, like I'm doing right now, through a podcast and using your physical voice, whether you're showing up in a video, or you have the natural gift of writing and storytelling, you use your wisdom in your magic of photography or videos so people connect. You create emotion through that. I just was watching Marie's photography from her retreat in Bali the other day, and I was like, oh, that is magic what she did. You could feel the energy of the people that her and Martin were transforming just through that photo. That's not a gift that I have, right? And that's okay because I have other gifts, but she has this gift of showing through her photography the power of transformation to connect with others. Um, so knowing what your gifts are in order for the world to see you and tap into that, right? It doesn't have to be what everybody else is doing. It only has to be what your magic sauce is, right? And this other thing that I see that, because what all those things are, so let me just wrap that part up, is when I'm sitting with healers who are like, yeah, I don't know how to sell myself, or I hate marketing, I hate promoting myself, right? That's so disempowering. You're creating doubt for yourself, you're creating worry, you're creating scarcity for yourself, right? And the other piece that I see is that leaders are not supposed to be alone. Yes, it can feel lonely at times because you have seen what others don't see, and your whole job is to help other people see what you see. You're leading them to the light. You're leading them to that new knowledge. You're leading them to see what you see in a bigger, deeper way. But that doesn't mean you have to do it alone. And so I see so many new leaders of this new paradigm, healers, spiritual guides, spiritual teachers, personal development coaches, right? I see all of you working in a silo. I see you feeling so isolated and alone. And you're like, oh, nobody else sees it. And this is what I've got to do. And, I have to do that. And I can't afford to have, an assistant or whatever it is. It's like, no, right? Of all the people in the world, you as a healer know that you can't do it alone, right? We're not built to do it alone. The whole point that we're teaching other people is that you're not alone, that we're part of a bigger matrix, right? We're all connected here. And so when you start to isolate yourself and create that alone space, right? You're creating loneliness then. You're feeling isolated. You're doing all of the things that you're trying to heal with others, for others, with others, right? So you have to lean into the networks that are actually filling up your cup, creating reciprocal relationships, giving you resources that empower you. And then the other piece that I keep seeing is that these new leaders of the new paradigm, you're not fully believing in yourself. You're not fully letting yourself love yourself, right? Because you're so focused on helping others. And it's from a really good place. This is really I want to make sure that you know is that it's from a really good place. You experienced a healing for yourself, right? You were a wounded healer at some point. You still are, right? I am, I will admit. But when we see, like, we get a little bit of the magic and the medicine, we're like, oh, I want to share that with the world. And we step out, but then we kind of forget to keep doing the work on ourselves. And so when that happens and you're so focused on the external world, you become a little disembodied there because you didn't actually complete the cycle of your own healing. And that might also come from a worthiness, where you get to a block where you're like, there's a deeper layer here of healing myself, but I'm going to just use what I just learned and distract myself by helping other people. And that'll keep me from actually doing the harder work that's ahead, right? We have to do it simultaneously, and also know when you're not supposed to be out into the world. So the last month I think I shared here, maybe actually I haven't shared it in the podcast, but I had a surgery at the beginning of April. It was not something that I wanted to do at all. I was like full on for 4 months, like, I'm going to heal myself. I can do this. I'm going to do this. And I had other healers helping me, with Ayurveda and, quantum healing practices and my yoga practice, my meditation, pranayama. I was doing all of the things because I was like, I'm going to heal myself. But really, what I needed to do was completely surrender, close my eyes, and trust that somebody else was taking care of it, taking it out, and then just allowing the layers of healing in that time and space as I recovered to happen with me and for me. I physically couldn't go out into the world and try to help other people for a period of time because I needed to help myself. Right. So the universe was like, yeah, we've been trying to tell you to chill the fuck out for a minute. And you weren't. You were still like power, like, let me do this myself. Let me help, you know. And sometimes as healers, we forget that we need to just really, really surrender. Right. So when you give yourself that permission to rest, when you give yourself that permission, right, there's a lot of respect for yourself there when you do that. There's a new boundary that you've created for yourself that will help you become an even more powerful healer, right? Because then when you go back out into the world, you really are coming from a place of embodiment, of empowerment, and can really be in service, right? You can really hold that container for somebody else, right? If you're kind of wobbly here and not fully doing the work and not fully embodied in it, right? The container that you're holding is a little wobbly too. So we actually need you to be more embodied, more empowered. Um, yeah, I'm just looking at my notes. That's a lot of what I'm sharing with you all is, our disempowered healers. Stop selling yourself. Be more authentic. If that's challenging, I get it. Maybe there's another call to do another layer of healing, right? To look at yourself. Oh, are you using that as an excuse or a distraction? Right? Are you using how you help other people heal? Are you using that as a distraction for that next layer of healing? Right? Are you isolating yourself? Are you just trying to do this all alone? And that's creating even more of resistance in how you're showing up in the world, right? So these are just some things for you to look at if claim to be a new healer a leader of the new world, or a healer, or a spiritual teacher, or a wellness practitioner, right? And even if you don't, if you're listening to this, I know that you're a healer. I keep getting stumbled on my words today. Yeah, if you're listening to this, I already know that you're a leader of the new world because you're a curious soul. Like, what is in the space in between, right? You like to go into those places that most other people don't, explore and talk about out in the outer worlds on the news. You're curious soul, you're going for it. Even if you're just leading yourself down that path, right? You are a leader of this new paradigm. Um, so you might be listening and be like, but I don't sell retreats, or I'm not doing this for a business. It's okay. These are messages that you can still receive, right? Are you out there trying to sell something that you actually aren't fully believing, right? And I don't mean like physically selling anything. Are you having conversations that you feel like you should be having just because other people are doing it? Right? Are you kind of playing a script? Are you going through a script that actually isn't yours? Right? Because that's disembodying you. Are you reading the news and being like, oh, other people are having conversations about this, and other people are scared and worried about this, but there's something inside of you going, this doesn't feel right. I don't believe that. I think that actually, right, you might have a whole nother outlook on it, and we actually need your voice to be heard and seen, right? But if you go and play the script that everybody else is doing, right, selling that old story, you're not being your authentic self. And we actually need you to be your authentic self. We need your voice to say there's something wrong going on here, right? And if you are somebody, again, you don't have to be what I'm talking about, leaders like actually physically out there doing things. But if you're a leader of your own world, are you isolating yourself from other people? Right. And I know I do this too sometimes. I'm like, though being human is crazy. People are out there weird. So I'm just going to be in my little box and like, right. But we have to go beyond that. We have to find our soul sisters and brothers and connect and be like, yeah, the outer world is crazy, right? Like we need that connection because that's going to help us all transform. When we start to have these conversations that I'm having here inside of the podcast right now, it's like, oh, yeah, wait, I'm not alone. Oh, thank God, right? That helps you. Gives you more, and you're more power, gives you your power back to realize that the things that are going on in your brain are not crazy. The things that are out here in the outer world, that's crazy. And so when you meet your soul sisters and brothers and you stop isolating yourself, right? And you're like, oh my God, thank God. I thought I was alone in this, right? You feel more empowered again. You can feel like, oh, it can be in this body again. That's what I was saying all month long. I was like, I don't know why my soul chose to come back into this body. It had an opportunity with general anesthesia to like take a trip somewhere else, but it made a decision, right? Because I was like, I was in isolation, right? In that recovery space. And I realized, oh no, I need to connect with others again and remember who I am and remember what my voice is supposed to be here for. Um, and we need you again, whether you think that you are a leader or not, we need you to continue this journey of healing. Continue to lean into, if you don't consider yourself a healer, find healers that can help you, that you can trust. That's so important that you can trust. And I like to think that everybody that I work with inside of the nOMad Collective are amazing, are powerful, are very embodied and empowered, and can really hold strong containers for the healing to transpire. So I got some people if you're looking for that. So we need all of you to be doing this work. The disempowered healers, the people that are working through your own healing, we need you. We need you to stop the doubt, the worry, the scarcity mindsets. We need all those distractions to get out of the way, to stop trying to sell yourself and stand in your power and be your authentic self, to stop isolating yourself, to connect, find, even if it's just one person, to realize I'm not alone in this. I hope my voice can be one of those voices to remind you you're not alone in this. Right. And then to really just continue, as hard as it can be sometimes, that healing journey, continue to show up for yourself, continue to do the work, especially my caregivers out there. You want to help the world, you want to do all the things, continue to fill up your own cup. If you don't, and you fall down and have a heart attack or get sick, you can't help those other people. We need you to take care of yourself. So I want to share a little exercise that I've been doing inside of Mind Valley. Shout out to Mind Valley. I'm doing a practice, the one of the courses, the Silva method. And I think that this is, something that Vishen, the founder, uses for all of his employees in Mind Valley. Geez, you guys, thank you for being patient and listening to me stumble over words today. But this was, something that helped me get really clear and remind me about the things that I want and get even more hooked into the why. So if you listen to my podcast, I'm really big on purpose and knowing your why and letting it be your heartbeat, right? Because when those times that are really challenging come up, we feel, despair, we feel shame, we feel doubt, we feel fear, right? When we know that heartbeat, it's like, no, you got to get back up. You got to do it, right? My heartbeat is that I hold transformational experiences for people to have a greater sense of belonging and purpose. When I am feeling off, misaligned, I go back to that. I'm like, how can I do that today? How can I create a space for people to have a greater sense of belonging and purpose? How can I do that for myself today? Because I can't even wake up today. How can I create a sense of belonging for myself today? Right. So you got to know your why so that when those times come tough, when the world just comes back and like battles and challenges you and sets so many obstacles in your way, you got to remember this is why I keep doing what I'm doing. You got to know your why. So this practice that he offered kind of taps that into that, but in a slightly different way. And I guess maybe a more joyful way, if you want to look at it that way, because the way that we do the 7 layers deep, it can be a little intense and there can be tears but it really gets into the essence of who you are and why you're showing up in the world. I've done that exercise before in a previous podcast, the 7 layers deep of why. And there are so many personal development coaches out there that have done that practice. So you can go find that somewhere else. But today, what I want to share from Vishen's program is that he does with his, like I said, his employees in Mind Valley is he has them write out 3 columns. They make 3 different columns. And there's like a whole meditation that you could do. I'm not going to do that today. This is just going to be more for you as you're listening to this, and you can journal with this and you can go, I shout out to his program, go and sign up and become a member and get access to the Silva method. Ultra Mind, I think it's Silva method. But um, so what you can do is in the first column, it's experiences. So what do I want to experience? The second column is growth. Who do I have to become to have those experiences? So who do I have to become to have those experiences? And then the third column is contribution. How would this contribute to the world? If I become who I'm supposed to be, right, for those experiences, how does that contribute to the world? So what you do is basically take a minute or two and write in that very first column all the experiences that you want, right? I want to travel more. I want to be a better mom. You know, um, you know, want to make a lot of money, maybe it's specific. I want to travel to specific countries. I want to, do this with my business, whatever it is, taking the time to write very specifically the experiences that you want. And I think this is really important to get into the experiences. My mom used to say this to me every Christmas. I would get things for Christmas, but I always got an experience for Christmas too. And my mom always said, experiences are so much more important than the things. And that really stuck with me then, and it sticks with me now. There was a Christmas I remember. I had a lot of, gifts. I was with my grandparents and there were lots of gifts there from my dad, but my mom wasn't physically with me because my parents were divorced. So I wasn't spending it with her. And she probably sent a gift or two. And this is the point. I don't even remember, but she had this letter. And every Christmas, my mom always wrote a Christmas letter to me, especially the years that I wasn't with her. And she always wrote the same letter about that very first Christmas that she had with me when I was a baby and how my eyes lit up when I looked at the Christmas tree. But she also would gift me whatever that experience was. And that year, I remember it was it was ballet classes at the school that I really wanted to go to. And I remember reading the letter and I was screaming. I was like, oh my God, I get to go I don't remember the name of the school. I get to go to this dance school and I get to take these classes. And I was so excited. And to this day, I remember that experience, right? I don't remember the physical gifts that I got, right? So when you write out your column of your experiences, yeah, there might be things like I want this car, I want to go to travel to Peru or Spain or whatever it is, but think about what is the experience of it, right? Like maybe it's a food that I want to try there, or maybe this car, I'll feel more empowered, right? When I drive this big red, sports car. Um, so think about not just the thing, but the experience that it gives you, you feel. Yeah. And then that second column is growth. Who do I have to become? Or what skills do I need in order to become this, to have that experience? What do I need to do in order to have that experience, right? So if you want like a very bright red sports car, and you're somebody who kind of just drives like a sedan and it's beige, well, who do you have to become? Not only just make the money to do it, but also who do you have to embody to become that, to like own it when you get in that car and you're like, yeah, right, top is down today, right? You have to become more confident. You've got to become, you know, a little bit, maybe like feel a little bit sexier. Whatever it is, you decide. Who do you have to become? What are the skills or the emotions, that contribute to that person that you're becoming in order to have those experiences. And then the last column is the contribution, right? How will this contribute to the world? Now, I kind of picked a silly example of using the red sports car, but I can work with this because this was not on my list. I was just making it, I was just riffing it. But, after you have that thing, after you've become that person, how are you contributing to the world? So, to play off of that example, bright red, fun, sexy sports car, I have to become more confident. I need to be like really stand in my power. When I stand in my power, right? The contribution to the world is I'm my more authentic self. People are getting more of me, and I'm actually being able to help people stand in their own power, right? When people start to witness you going to this sort of like mousy person who drives a beige sedan to this really powerful, like, yeah, she owns it. She's driving that car, right? They're like, ooh, I want some of that, right? You're an inspiration to other people to stand in their power, to stand in their confidence, right? So you can look at it like that, right? And so just looking at experiences, who do you have to become, right? And the contributions to the world. When we get to that last column is so important, right? Those are your whys, right? When we involve other people, that's the whole point of what Vishen was saying is when we involve other people into our deepest desires, then things start to happen a lot quicker for us. We feel more empowered, right? We build more trust in the universe is supplying what we're asking for. We recruit people, people see what we're doing and they're like, oh, I want that. And I want to support you doing that. Right. So the whole thing that he does is that every employee at Mind Valley does this and it shares that on like bulletin boards. So people start to see, oh, that person wants the same thing as me. So we use the example, like there were like 4 or 5 people that had the experience of going to Nepal. And so they all kind of saw that and like, oh, let's just all create a trip to Nepal together. Let's all figure out how we're going to do this together, right? So again, going back to this idea of don't isolate yourself, don't keep your desires to yourself, because when you put it out there and you see 4 other people want to go to Nepal with you, it's like, oh my God, we're going to do this. Somebody's going to cheer you on. They're going to hold you accountable. They're going to make sure that you are going to live that dream because they're now involved in it in some way, right? So when we recruit other people for our own, desires, like, going on a trip or getting that red car, we're also recruiting other people. We're empowering other people and their dreams and their deepest desires, right? So when we can step into that frequency of our experiences, they're not selfish, right? They're contributing to the greater whole, right? You want to be a healer, you want to help people. Well, if you get really into the essence of why you want to contribute into the world of healing people, right? It will, all those obstacles, like I keep telling myself, like, get out of your own way, Phoebe. If I see the obstacles in my mind, like telling me those old stories of imposter syndrome or whatever, I'm like, get out of your own way. This is bigger than you. Tell that voice to go over there, to shut up. Thank you, but no. And you realize, no, I need to get out of my own way so I can help these people in this group today. Right? There were so many times that I was like, especially when I was going through my divorce and the death of my dad, where I was like, you need to get out of your own way. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. There were times and spaces that I allowed myself to grieve. But when it was like getting a little too long into like, a lot of self-pity, there I was like, nope, today you're teaching yoga. Today you're showing up for other people and see how that makes you feel. And I always felt better at the end of it because I saw my contribution to the world and it filled me back up. And then, yes, I was allowed to give myself that grief space again, but then I just like step by step continue to contribute to the world, continue to get out of my own way and to stop taking things personally, right? So we've got to get out of our own way and also stop taking things so personally. When you do get the rejections, right? Because you will, when you put yourself out there authentically. This is why we keep ourselves safe and protected and put ourselves in a little container. This is a lot safer for people to, they can't say no to us, right? When we're in our power, we're embodied, we're our authentic selves, we're definitely going to get some rejection. I get rejection all the time. And I actually shared a story on social media the other day about singing. I don't claim to be a singer, but I had to go to so many auditions as a dancer because I wanted to be exploring musical theater and possibly Broadway. And I had to get out of my own way and learn how to sing, even though I was really insecure about it. And I did, but I also got lots and lots of rejections. And I had to listen. For me, I was like, okay, well, what's my why here? Why do I want to do this? Right. And I won't go down that rabbit hole of why at that time, but I had to get out of my own way to just do it. And I had to stop taking things personally when the world said no to me. Right. Because then I came back to, why am I here? Right now, I get rejections all the time when I sit and I have amazing conversations with healers that are like, you have such a gift. I want to help you. I want to support you. I want to help you fill your retreat. I want to make sure that more people know about you. But they're so disempowered and they say, no, I really I really want to work with you, but no, I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I'm exhausted. They have all like I can see it in their posture. They start to get can then shrink in to themselves and they're disempowered and they say no to me. But I'm like, I don't take it personally anymore. Right. There was a time that I was like fighting for them. That was the codependency in me. Like, well, what can we do to make this happen? I just really want to believe in you. But no, they have to stand in their power too. Right. That's part of our work as healers, is that we need to know, right, when it's a no to you and when it's a no to them. And when it's a no to them, right, we don't take it personally. We can offer whatever we can offer in a way that feels clear and has clear boundaries, right? So you get to choose what that is. Some people are like, okay, bye, thank you. It's good to meet you. Some other people like me, I try to meet them halfway. If they can't meet me halfway, I'm like, okay, you're not ready yet, right? So we got to remember our why. Let that be your heartbeat. When things get in the way, whether it's your own brain, get it out of the way. Whether it's the world saying no to you, don't take it personal. And then just keep on track. This is my why. This is my deepest desire. This is where I want to be. All right, my dear friends, I think that is that. I feel like I've been on a soapbox talking a lot here today. I haven't done that in a long time since, yeah, for a while, for a month or two. So my voice is already getting a little hoarse. So yes, my personal request to you, if you're a disembodied healer or you're a disembodied person who is healing right now, we need you to stand in your power right now to lead us through this new paradigm shift. And we need you to get out of your own way, to not take things personally, and just continue to let your heartbeat take you further forward because we need your voice. We need your wisdom. We need your medicine. We need your gifts out in the world to lead us, to heal us, to transform us, to let us expand into something much greater than what this world is already. Okay? If you don't identify as a healer and you are healing and you're in that journey, we need you to take responsibility for that. Lean into resources that are here for you to continue that journey because we need you to continue to move forward, right? Find a teacher that you can trust. Find someone that can help you. Don't isolate yourself. Continue to move forward step by step. Because if you just stay stuck in that healing cycle and you don't actually finish it, right? Or let the layers continue to clear it out because yeah, we can talk about finishing it or not finishing it. We won't go down that right now. But if you don't continue on where you are right now, if you're like, this is too hard, right? Those wounds will continue on in some way in your own life and other people's lives, whether it be through your ancestral work, right? In future generations, we need you to continue your own healing. We need you to hold accountability of your own healing right now. All right, my dear friends. And if you need some support, come join us at the global retreat at Journey Inward, where we're going to release those old stories. We're going to transform you and we're going to help you be free and be your authentic self. So I look forward to seeing you there. I look forward to having you here inside of our podcast, the space in between, and all of the other things that we're doing at nOMad. We love you. I love you. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon and hearing and speaking with you again soon. All right. Have a beautiful day.